So we've obviously heard quite a lot of theory so far. So now we're going to move on to very much the sort of the crux, and that's hearing from an operator. So as it says on the agenda, it's Peter Snowden from Vodafone Netherlands. Now, in the style of an Oscar kind of award ceremony, Peter can't be with us today, but what he has done is sent us a video interview, if you like, where he talks about some of the major issues that Vodafone are facing and what they're doing.
Hi, my name is Peter Snowden. I'm at Vodafone in the Netherlands, and I've been working with the contracts here in the Netherlands for outsourcing of networks for the past few years. In 2006 and 2007, Vodafone Netherlands decided to outsource its access and core networks completely to a managed service provider. During that period of time, we've seen various aspects of managing this contract, changes of scope from SLAs and KPI discussions and changes to commercial escalations, audits, performance improvement programs, and things like that. It's been quite an adventure, and this adventure changed slightly in April this year, where we decided to insource part of what we'd outsourced back in 2006 and 2007. We insourced engineering because we thought engineering could bring us more creativity in the discussion that we had with our architects and our planning department around what is it we should do to our network and do with our network in order to make it more effective for our business. Bringing the people in who knew what was working and what was not working in the field was quite important to us in order to make that effective. We insourced operations, network operations. It has been outsourced for a long time to Romania with Ericsson. And we made the transition to moving that to our own shared service center in Ericsson. The reason is that these shared service functions work when everyone contributes, and we wanted to be part of Vodafone's strategy for making that shared service center a success. So what we've left with Ericsson and what we've left outsourced in our service contract includes those things here local to the Netherlands, which require the hands and feet of people out there in the field, configuring, installing, maintaining. So the elements of access and core projects have been outsourced. Those are captured in a frame agreement. We have preventative and corrective maintenance, of course, as well. And the elements of field measurements is all done by the service provider here locally in the Netherlands. Some of the biggest challenges we saw over the last few years, in fact, came up in the final year of the contract when we were trying to make a decision as to what we should do. At that point, we realized the information available to us was very, very little. The information about how things worked, the impact around how many people were involved, the tooling, the subcontractors, a lot of that became invisible to us. The reason is we had outsourced a black box. We created a black box because it was easy to manage. We would provide our inputs to that black box, and we would have certain expectations for outputs from that black box. Unfortunately, when it came time to rediscuss what made sense and what changes were necessary in our sourcing strategy, we realized that information was very crucial to have to build your business case, to structure your organization. So this was a real issue for us. In the end, we decided to take the risk. We built our strategy around assumptions, and we mitigated those risks by working very closely with our managed service provider. It was very helpful and cooperative in most aspects of getting that transition completed. I think the vendor market for managed services, at least here in Europe, is becoming more and more of a duopoly. I think the amount of service providers who used to be in the space and who could have provided services to us are now becoming less and less. The services we get from the existing providers, I think, are still very good. I think they're still relevant to what we need. They're still innovating. They're still looking for the next thing that they can bring to the customer, that being the operators. And I think that's in part because the rivalry is still very strong between these two organizations. My wish is that we, as operators, would ensure that we still have a very vibrant and competitive managed services market. Otherwise, we could face stagnating services. We could face prices which become less attractive. And we have then, of course, the issue of a high cost of exiting. When I look at the managed services industry over the next 12 to 24 months, there are three things I want to share with you. The first one is on consolidation. I think there's some expectation out there that operators will consolidate in European markets. Smaller operators will disappear, the larger operators will grow. I think this presents, say, a change in the landscape potentially of managed services, in that as companies grow and become larger, they can create their own synergies and scale by combining certain functions. So I think the balance between shared services of major operators and the managed services of, in most cases, suppliers, equipment, telecom equipment, will shift. The other consolidation area is in network sharing. I think with network sharing, the MSPs have a very good opportunity, in fact, to step in as a neutral third party to not only operate potentially in a neutral way the networks of two companies and competitors, in fact, but also to help them transform. The MSPs have years of experience of moving and shaping organizations from where they were to where they need to be. And I think that transformation ability could be very useful for network sharing partners. The second thing I wanted to mention is around second generation managed service contracts. I think as the first generation of service contracts come to an end, you'll find that the expectations of operators will have been shifting from purely cost savings to something a little bit more intricate, balancing cost savings with customer experience and with, in some cases, sustainability and other things that the operator hold very highly. So I think as we look at the first generations of contracts coming to an end, I think we'll see a little bit more selectivity in who is the service supplier, perhaps a bit more best of breed, as people move from their monolithic and maybe more conservative approach of outsourcing the first time. They've gained that experience as operators, and they're looking for partners who can deliver more than just the cost savings. The third item I want to share with you is about the operator itself. The operators, I believe, are struggling continuously, not only in the next 12 to 24 months, but have been for a significant amount of time, around how to actually manage these managed service contracts, how to remotely control something that used to be part of your own organization that is now sitting elsewhere. One of the main things I hear again and again is what is the best retained organization, and the key to both retained organization, and it's really the best question, because the people that you used to manage in getting the work done now have to work in a very different way. They have to interact differently. There are different points of contact, different amount of information which can be shared and should be shared. This is all something which has not been developed, I would say, consistently within the operators. It seems that every operator is facing its own problem and asking its own questions and trying to fight its own battle. Whereas I think in the managed service side of things, really the managed service operators have gained experience after experience, which each one of the managed service providers have gained experience with each one of the operators that it's dealt with in putting together the best practices for its own organization, and continues to use those and refine those, whereas the operator is each time trying to invent itself. In my opinion, we need to look together as operators on how we can come together. Just like ITIL, what ITIL did for the IT industry in setting down standards and best practices that an operator can select from and use and apply in its own way. I think we as operators need to get together to find out what it is we need to do, what are the best practices, what are the learnings, and how to implement this in a way that makes it more effective for the operator as well as for the industry itself. Finally, I want to wish you a successful conference. Thank you, European Communications, for allowing me this opportunity to share with you in this way. And I look forward to sharing your views when we meet next time.